Hello YouTube, Dave here again, back with another mail day slash pickup video. So I haven't had a chance to add too much stuff to my various collections over the last month, but there were some things that I missed from the holidays, from the 2019 holidays, that I want to include in this video, and I did find a couple of cool things that I've picked up as well. In addition, as you can see here, a couple packages just arrived for me in the mail today, so I will be opening them up and doing separate reviews of whatever's contained inside at a later point. One of them, for sure, this one here on the bottom, I will be doing a review of probably within a day or two of this one going up. So looking forward to opening those up. But first, let's take care of some of the things that I've picked up or that I missed during the holiday season. So we're just going to angle you down for a little bit. So the first thing that I received for this was a part of my my Christmas presents. This was given to me by my daughter, actually, and this is the Magic Corset 2020 White Theme Booster. So this is something I will probably also open up in a separate video. So this just says enhance your white deck with 35 cards from the Corset 2020, including at least one rare or mythic card. And it says just add 25 lands to start building a 60-card deck. So it'll be kind of interesting to see what's in here. But I did get a chance to play a little bit of Magic over the holidays, so it was kind of cool to be able to do that again. So this will be something I'm looking forward to opening up and seeing what we have. But this was a Christmas gift that I just completely forgot to include in my actual holiday pickup video. So we got that. Up next we have when we were down in on the South Shore, we went to their local mall, and I'm sure there's stores like it all over the place, but we have places called calendar clubs, I think they are. And they're stores that usually just pop up over the holiday season. They're not like a permanent store, although the one here in Dartmouth actually seems to be going all year round. But when they start getting ready to close out, they'll start putting some of their stuff on clearance. So I picked up the Resistance, and as you can see here, it was 50% off. This ended up costing me about $15, I think, $16 plus tax. Not a bad price compared to the normal retail price, which was, yeah, so I paid $15 for it, because it was $30 regularly. And this seems like one of those games that would be a lot of fun to play, where you have, everyone sort of have their secret roles, and you have to try to figure out who's the, it's one of those, like, who's the traitor type of games. So this seems like it would be a lot of fun to try out. I think I saw it on Tabletop with Will Wheaton like years ago. So when I saw this was 50% off, it's like, for $15 I will definitely pick this up, and hopefully at some point I'll even get a chance to try it out. Alright, the last thing that I picked up over the holidays that I forgot to include in the video, which was kind of unfortunate because I'm showing off other games that I picked up, but I finally managed to get my hands on a copy of the Call of Cthulhu for the Nintendo Switch. Now, it's nothing special on the inside, but this is a game that I've been trying to get my hands on for a very, very long time. So I picked this up at my local EB Games, and for like when on release date they had their display copy up on the wall, but they only got one copy of the actual game sent to them. And like for months it would be like that. They were either out or they only had one that was sent, and it would be gobbled up really quickly. So finally they had the display copy back on display, because they haven't shown it in a long time. And I asked if they had any copies, and they did, and they actually had the sealed copies, which was great. But this game is a lot of fun. It's kind of a like point and click type of game. There are some action sequences and stuff in there as well, but it's not like the big action sequence that I've come across so far is just trying to destroy an object to sever its connection to like this creature that's trying to fight me. I don't want to spoil too much, but it's not one of those things where you're like run and gun type of stuff. The story seems really, really awesome so far, and I need to pick this back up actually. But I put a lot of hours into it when I first got it, and I'm hoping to finish it in the very, very near future. So this was one of those games that again I was trying to get forever, and finally managed to get into my collection. All right, up next we have a couple of D&D related comics. The first one here is A Darkened Wish. This is number 4 of at least 5. This is a series that it's interesting. I like it, but to me it's not as good as, or it's not as entertaining, I guess I should say, as the ones with Minsk and Boo in it. And like, there's nothing bad about it or anything. It's just a little bit more darker, a little more subdued in its tone, which is fine. It was a little confusing at first because the premise is basically that it's hopping back and forth between 2 different time periods, like when a group of individuals first meet and when they're young and adventuring, and then later on when something horrible has happened, and it's turned some of the members against each other. From like the first issue was kind of meh, in my opinion, but it did pick up. And so like I said, this is issue 4. There's at least a 5th one because it does say to be continued. Where do we have it here? I haven't actually read this one yet. I just sort of flipped to the back to see if this was the last issue or not. So I will be getting to this hopefully at some point in the next day or so. And then I picked up one that I had to read absolutely immediately, and that was Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, Chapter 2 Painscape. This is issue 4. This is one of the variant covers with the character sheet information for some of the characters here. I don't have the other variants, but that's fine. I do plan on getting the trade for this when it comes out in March. And when that happens, I have a friend who is a big Rick and Morty fan, is also into RPGs. He's the one that I gave the first 4 comics to, so I'll be giving him these ones as well. But this one is... I want to talk about the Rick and Morty comics in a separate video, so I don't want to give away too much, but I kind of feel like this second series, even though I wasn't as into it with like issue 1, but by the time we got to, issue 3 and 4, I was super hooked into it, and I kind of feel like Chapter 2 might be my favorite of the 2 so far, and I'm hoping that they continue with this series going forward, because I just, the 2 things that I love, and I don't really get the regular Rick and Morty comics, just because I'm not into collecting too many types of comics, but if they keep this one going, I will definitely be picking those up. Alright, a couple Pathfinder things here. I don't know if I had shown this in the last video or not, so I'm just going to quickly show this again. But this is the Pathfinder Age of Ash's Adventure Path. This is book 3 of 6, Tomorrow Must Burn. And so I am currently running the Age of Ash's storyline actually for some friends in my monthly local Pathfinder game, or public Pathfinder game I should say, and really enjoying Chapter 1 so far, and looking forward to getting the entire storyline here. It is a campaign that does take you from 1st level to 20th, which is pretty awesome. The Starfinder ones usually wrap up around 13th level, but this one will take the characters all the way throughout their character progression, which is pretty awesome. So we've got book 3 of 6 here, and then I picked up book 4 of 6, Fires of the Haunted City. So I only need to get 5 and 6 now, and I'll have the whole thing. They are both out, and I believe Paizo said they were going to be sending me book 1 of the next storyline to have a look at, so that should hopefully be here within the next few days. But yeah, so this is book 4 of 6, and so 3 of 6, 4 of 6, I just need to get 5 and 6, and I'll have, like I said, the whole story there. And like I said, this is the adventure path that I am actually currently running. Alright, up next, last 2 things before we get into the packages. I was at my local game store, and normally when they get their weekly orders, I'm only looking at stuff like what comics they get in, because we have some comics that we get in for my daughter, and my like the D&D ones and the Rick and Morty ones. So that's usually and the role playing stuff. Those are the only things I'm usually looking for. So I completely missed this when they released their picture showing what they got in for the order. But I had to go in and talk to them about some changes to the gaming schedule, and I'm not going to get into that here necessarily. But basically, I had way too many people show up for my 5th edition D&D game. It was my biggest group. I had 7 players that are regulars, 8 with one person that I think was there for one session and expressed an interest in being a regular. But then I had 6 new people just show up out of the blue. So I need to nip that in the bud and close off the D&D 5th edition group. I am adding a second one for people that can't play in the first. But anyway, but when I was there, I thought, well, just have a look around. And I turn around on the D&D shelf, and I see some things that, again, I don't normally go for, but I had to pick up at least the 2 that I got here. And these are Funko Pops based off of Dungeons & Dragons property. So, there were 3 total, and I'll show them on the back here, but the first one that I'm going to show here is the Mind Flayer. And Mind Flayers are among my favorite monsters. I don't think they would end up ever doing a Beholder in this series, but if they did, that would be absolutely awesome. I just love like the little tentacles, the white eyes, just the leather clothing with the skull on it. The skull on the outfit is also kind of in the shape of like the Funko Pop heads, which is a nice little detail in my opinion. Just really cool looking. Excuse me. Still dealing with the remnants of a cold, unfortunately. So the 3 that they have here are the ones on the back. They had the Osmodius as well, but honestly, I'm not... I think Osmodius is a cool character and a cool potential villain, but I don't like the design of him enough that I would want to get the pop for it. So I didn't get that one yet. I might if it's still there next time I go in, which would be this weekend. If they still have one, I'll pick it up. If not, then I'm okay with not getting all 3. I'm not necessarily looking to get the entire set, but this one I had to get, and I definitely had to get Minsk and Boo. So you can see you got the little hamster up on top of his head. And it's just, Minsk is one of my favorite characters, just like hands down. I absolutely adore Minsk. I think he's the greatest. And, you know, I have the Nolzar's Marvelous Miniatures, the Human Ranger, which is holding the hamster out. And I have like the Boo, some of the comics with them. I have the issue dedicated solely to Boo. Just awesome stuff, some great stuff there. So really, really like these. They even have like the scars and stuff on there, which is kind of neat. So yeah, so I had to pick those up. Alright, so up next we are going to get to these packages. So we're just going to tilt this back up a little bit here. Move the other stuff out of the way. Let's do this one first, since this is one that I do plan on actually doing a review for, like I said, within the next couple of days. There is cardboard on the inside here, so when I'm cutting, I'm not going to damage the product. Oh my. Alright, that took way longer than I was expecting it to, but we got lots of bubble wrap here, which the missus and the little one will absolutely love, so I will save that for them. So this was sent to me by the creators of it for the purposes of helping to spread awareness of it, I guess do a review of it, and this was something that I had seen a while ago and I was really interested in. I just didn't have the ability to pick it up. My financial situation is like the missus supports the family, but I have a part-time job that I do, which it only gets me like 3.5 hours a week. so it's not a situation where I'm making a ton of money. It's about $80 after taxes every 2 weeks. So that's just kind of sort of like spending money if I decide to go somewhere. So there's certain things I just can't pick up. But this was something that I thought was super cool looking. And if I can get it out here. Try not to pop too many of the bubbles. But this is the combat book, rewritable combat maps for tabletop RPGs. This package came from P-Work, our games, and I'll include the website and everything in this video. I'm not going to go into too much right now, but the cool thing about this is it's a spiral bound book, and it's just got maps on it. Some are generic, some are more specific. So I'm not going to give away too much here in this video because I will be doing a separate one dedicated specifically to this. But this thing is pretty big. That said, it's still smaller than the other flip mats, so as someone who has limited space, this is something that can come in very handy. For scale purposes, here is the Pathfinder Adventure Path book, and you can see just how much bigger this is than that. So this is something that's really, really awesome. I cannot wait to look through this, and like I said, I'll do the video for it. I'll show all the maps in the video, but this is just something, again, that I was really excited to see, like, when it first came out, because I thought it was such a great idea. And to have it now, and to be able to hopefully raise awareness of it and get others to go out and pick this really awesome product up. Again, really, really looking forward to seeing this. So the video for that will be coming out, like I said, probably within the next day or two. So keep an eye out for that. All right, and then the last package we have here is sort of an interesting story. I'm pretty sure I know what's in here, and I just need to find my knife. So I'll tell the story of how I actually ended up getting this once I open up the package itself. But they have like the threaded packing tape here, so it looks like it's actually packed up really nicely. But interesting note about the sending of this. So this obviously went through the United States Postal Service, and they had tracking information. I'll just start it there. So they had tracking information that was very specific until you left the U.S. Border. So it started in like Des Moines, Iowa, and then it traveled through like Chicago and stuff like that. And then I just started getting notifications saying it arrived at a postal facility in Canada, and is en route to a facility in Canada, and then it arrived at the second facility in Canada. So I was like, well, that's not very helpful. In fact, because of that, I ended up having to stay home on Friday because I thought that the second facility that it arrived at in Canada was probably the one in my local area. And it wasn't, as it turns out. But I found out from a friend of mine who does more shipping stuff, because I don't really ship a lot or get stuff shipped often with tracking numbers. But he said that the U.S. Postal Service tracking number should still work in Canada Post, and then you can get the more specific information. So I thought that was pretty cool, and it worked. I tried it out. So it turned out that the first two facilities were both in Quebec. But then I noticed something unusual, and I was still getting the email notifications for it arriving in different places in Canada. So like on Sunday, just yesterday at the time I'm recording this, the message came up. It's like your item arrived at a postal facility in Canada. It's like, oh, so I popped over to the Canadian tracking information to see exactly where it was. I mean, I think it had to be Halifax at that point. And they weren't updated. So the U.S. Postal Service tracking information was more accurate, or was more up to date than within Canada than the Canadian one was. And then it has said, arrived at its the destination for delivery, like the delivering post office. in the US one, and the Canadian one this morning still didn't have any updates past January 31st. So the expected delivery date was supposed to be the 5th, and it's actually here today. So we're going to get all this out of the way. And it is a box within a box. Okay. And I put my knife away and completely lost track of where it went to, as if it doesn't exist anymore. Hold on. Oh, there we go. So now as for the story as to how I ended up getting this, because I'm pretty sure this is what I think it is. Although it does seem smaller than I was expecting it to be. So I guess we'll have to see what's going on here. But if this is the item that I think it is, it's kind of funny because this is an item that I ordered by accident. And it is cool. So, and I just thought it was kind of funny because I tell people that. It's like, well, I accidentally ordered this item, and what this item is the Call of Cthulhu starter set for the latest edition of the Call of Cthulhu game. So we'll just tilt this down a little bit. And I had people ask me, it's like, how do you accidentally order something? And the answer to that is actually kind of simple. So when I order stuff online, the process that I'm used to is you go through you put the item in your cart, you go to checkout, enter in your shipping information, or you create an account for the online store, which is what I did here. The reason that I was looking at this in the first place is Acquisitions Incorporated had a 10% off discount code that you could apply to orders from the Chaosium website. It was listed in their Call of Cthulhu gameplay videos that they're doing, that they just started up. I think there are 3 sessions into it. And so I thought that's really cool, and check it out, and so I'll see what the discount is. I didn't see a place to put in the discount code, and so what I was expecting was to select, the normal sites that I'm used to, you select a method of payment, and then it takes you to a confirmation screen where you confirm everything. And some sites will, even if you have coupons or promo codes, you can enter them after you select the method of payment. Some of them you do it before, but it's all done before you finally confirm the purchase. So it's like, okay, well, that's interesting. So I didn't see where to enter the promo code, which was the first thing. But then after that, I selected PayPal for the method of payment, and it said at the bottom of the PayPal thing to select it, it just said finish and pay, and that seemed kind of unusual because normally there's a step in between where you select your method of payment and then you go to a confirmation screen. So I was still expecting to be sent to that confirmation screen, so I just selected finish or select as payment, and it completed the transaction. I was like, uh-oh. I mean, I had the money in my account to pick it up or to get it, so that wasn't a big deal. And it's like, well, I kind of want it, so I think I'll keep it. But I never did get the discount code, and the way that the site was set, and there was nothing misleading about the way that the site was set up. Like I said, the wording of when you selected the method of payment was different for me because I'm not used to seeing that. I'm used to it going to a final confirmation screen where you get to review everything, including your address and information, all that stuff. That just didn't happen with this site. It just finished the order and completed everything, which again is fine. It is something that I did want anyway. So, and the discount code would only probably have saved me about $3, $4. So it's not the biggest thing in the world, but it is really cool to have this nonetheless. So this, like I said, is the Call of Cthulhu starter set, or beginner box, or whatever you want to call it. Starter set is the phrase that they use here. And this is by Chaosium Games. They've been doing the Call of Cthulhu story or role-playing games for forever. This is part of the 7th edition, I believe, for the rule set. And I'm curious about getting the finalized, the actual rule set itself, the complete rule set. we'll see what happens, because this does require you to have two different books, the Keeper rule book and the Investigator handbook. And I'll have to see what the prices are in my local area, because ordering them online looks like it's going to be really expensive. But this is something that I am looking forward to, and like I said, it was just kind of funny that I ordered it without realizing that I was actually completing the order. So that was sort of a whoopsie situation there, but still cool to have nonetheless. I will be doing an unboxing video for this at some point, probably within the next few days, after I get to the review for the combat book, which will be the next thing that I will be looking at. So anyway, those were my pickups for the month of January, as well as, like I said, a couple things. Well, one thing that was sent to me for review, one thing that I accidentally ended up picking up without thinking about it. So anyway, yeah, let me know in the comments below what are some of the cool things you've added to your collections this past month. And if you've played the Call of Cthulhu, the modern version, the 7th edition rule set, let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comments below, and if that might be worth me picking up at a point when I have the money to do so. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take care.